Hey guys, what's up? It's Self-Dev. Welcome back to another MBTI and functions video. So I made a video recently about type and humour and some theories that I've came up with. And I've been thinking a little bit more about this, and I found that people's inferior function is often a link to accidental humor. Um, and I think that's a great way to move away from your insecurities about your inferior function and turn it into an opportunity for humor. Um, this might be hard at first to turn it into a purposeful way of trying to be funny, but um, as long as you can learn to accept your flaws, which are often seen in the inferior function, once you've accepted this, then you can actually learn to laugh with others when they kind of, I guess, make fun of how your inferior function comes out. Um, there's also, I think, your primary function. When you see that this is used in a kind of poor way by other people, you can see that as funny, and it's kind of like an awkward or like cringe sort of humor, and that's one of um, I guess the most common types of humor that people like. Um, yeah, let's talk about the inferior function and humor a bit more. So, I guess one example is I was I was in a social setting once, and earlier I put my t-shirt on, and the logo, one side of it is quite faded, and the other side is quite clear. It's black and white t-shirt, and the clear side is like very like bright white and black background. Um, and I suppose I was sort of in a rush, so I was just like quickly thinking in a what I thought was a logical argument, and I put the clear side on the front when I had not noticed that there was stitching on that side, which suggested that that's supposed to be on the inside. But my logic was that the manufacturers would surely have had the clearer image of the logo on the outside. Um, Whereas I realized later on that obviously the side that's faded, it's faded because of how long I've had it and the sun and all that. And I just totally missed that. Um, yeah, and other people called it out for it, and said, "Look at that stitching. You have your t-shirt inside out." And I'm like, "Oh, I've got it inside out. I've just realized this." And I pretty much told them my logical explanation, and they pretty much found that funny, in a kind of cringy way, and I was able to laugh at that. Um, so if you guys are insecure about your inferior function, then just laugh along with other people instead of taking it personally. Um, I know that's really easy for me to say, but there is a video on the channel Charisma on Command, which is an absolutely fantastic channel if you are struggling with pretty much any social situation in general. I'm not exactly sure what the title is called, but it's probably something to do with turning insecurities into humor. you will look a lot more charismatic if you laughed along with people and accepted your flaws, because most of the time people aren't just trying to offend you and upset you on purpose. They are just trying to have a laugh with you. So if you take everything personally, then you won't look very charismatic. So I think I've made a video in the past about not taking things personally or something along those lines. And I know that's not easy to do. So yeah, I think my video is called something about accept your flaws before other people call it out, or something along those lines. So while you're alone, just think about your flaws and think about how many strengths you have. And I bet most people will notice that they have more strengths than they do flaws. And you should also realize that other people have their flaws as well. And where they have flaws, you might have strengths. So you could even actually say this in a social situation. Only when it's quite clear that they are criticizing you and not trying to have a laugh with you, because if you confuse those two, then it's not going to come off very well. And I know not everyone can read situations, social situations, as well as someone like me. And I understand that. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of different ways that different types can learn how to read social situations. And I would probably like to research that, and then once I really see how I can advise each type to on how they can read social situations, I will probably make a video series on that. And I hope that will help a lot of people if I was to make something like that. Where was I? Inferior functions, humour. Yeah, so I was on a little bit of a tangent about how people should accept their flaws and know they've got strengths, and that they should not focus so much on their flaws because everyone has them. And imagine if everyone focused on their flaws all the time and pretty much ignored all their strengths. I mean, like, everyone would just be like unhappy, and you might see yourself as unhappy because you focus too much on your flaws. But just try and think, how are other people so happy when everyone has flaws? They are choosing not to focus too much on those flaws. And you are choosing to focus too much on your flaws. And honestly, things like affirmations will help with this. So yeah, quick little sidetrack there. So when people are maybe trying to have a laugh with you because of your inferior functions flaws, once you've learnt to accept them, it can really allow your social interactions to be healthier. You can make it clear that it's okay for them to joke about your flaws by adding in a joke on top of that. So yeah, you can just, you might not even need to add in a joke, just like laugh and smile. So in my example, I could have said, oh, so stupid, and then just like laughed after that, to make sure that, to send a message to the social group that I wasn't actually insecure of my ill thought logic about my t-shirt. Um, uh, I'm not really sure if I have an example for every type with every inferior function. So I'll just think of a few. Maybe SE inferior might do something awkward. I suppose that's similar to FE inferior. So along the lines of something that's a bit weird. Maybe they end up in a party and they do some weird sort of dance moves, and their friends might say, "Oh, that's some weird dance moves you got there." You can either take that personally and feel bad, or you can just accept that these are your dance moves. This is who you are. You're not supposed to have like the same kind of dance moves as everyone else or your friend group. So just try and take pride into how your inferior function comes across as a bit weird to other people, because it will. It's your inferior function. It's not your dominant function. It's not your parent function. So, yeah, you could, in this situation, you could say, yeah, these are my weird dance moves. Honestly, you could just say anything as long as you are not seen as being insecure of how your inferior function is coming across. And just make sure you're not taking it personally, otherwise your friends will be like, here he or she, here he or she goes again, like just trying to be insecure and moaning and having this victim mindset. Yeah, so if you want to be more charismatic, if you want to have more success in social situations, then try not to take things too personally. In a way, this is a part 2 of my video that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, make a joke. Make sure you're not seen as taking something too personally. It's just not what other people like to see or know. Make sure you're no longer insecure of it. The less insecure things you have, the better. Obviously, you can still have insecurities and not really resolve them, if that makes sense. For that, I guess I would say change the subject, but try to in a more funny way, so that it might at least appear that you're not actually insecure of what was said, or what happened in the situation. Yeah, I'm not even sure what I should title this video now. It was originally supposed to be how your inferior function is accidentally funny, and I've sort of adapted on that. I kind of think as I go, and obviously you can't really always plan with what you talk about. Some people can, but I can't a lot of the time. And sometimes I even just forget what I wanted to talk about. or can't think of the points that I wanted to say to back up what I'm actually saying. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up. Hope you like this video. Please like and subscribe. Please comment, what did you like or not like, what could be improved, have I said anything wrong, what are your experiences, what have you observed, click the bell, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Hope you have an awesome day and an amazing life.